Welcome to the Oprah Show. Today on our show, we are welcoming three great authors that have dedicated a part of their lives to express their opinions on the individual and the community. Everyone give a round of applause for Henry David Thoreau, MLK, and Dina Mengetsu. The first person we will be interviewing is Martin Luther King. Welcome back to the Oprah Show. Our first guest is Dr. Martin Luther King.
How are you today, Oprah? Looking beautiful as always, I see.
Oh, I'm well. And how are you, Doctor?
I'm great, thanks.
Alright, that's good. Let's look way back to your letter from Birmingham jail. Could you possibly talk about that?
Ah, yes, some of my most inspirational work. It all started when I was leading one of my peaceful protests. The police then arrested me over my opinions on how a community should be civilized. As an individual, it is difficult to accomplish many tasks without the support of your community. Your community should be there to help lead you down the road of success.
Do you think that you're the most influential member of your community?
As an individual, I try to stay humble toward my respectful followers. I try to conduct as many peaceful protests as possible in order to gain recognition for the issue at hand. I believe nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community which has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue.
Do you think that an individual could have more of an impact than a community together?
Individuals can have ideas that are impactful. However, when an individual comes together as a community, all preaching the same idea, then they could change the course of history.
Thank you for your time. Everybody, let's give a warm round of applause for Martin Luther King. We'll be right back after this short break with Dina Mengetsu. Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is Dina Mengetsu.
How are you? It's a pleasure to finally meet you after all these years.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's get started. Can you dwell on your prior piece, Home at Last?
Why, yes, I can. I believe that the community is much stronger than the individual because it reassures the individual that there are others who share the same values. Growing up, I never had a home but to rely on. But when I moved to Brooklyn at age 21, I found myself in my first community that made me feel a part of something.
How did becoming part of a community make you feel?
It gave me a feeling of comfort and security that I never felt before. The individual attempts to secure his position in the world. I wanted to do this through becoming a part of a community.
What is a community comprised of?
A community comprises of individuals that have the same background and similar interests and thought processes in many different predicaments.
Okay, thank you for being on the show. That's all the time we have for this guest today, but thank you for your expert input.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Our next guest on today's show is Henry the Woodsman David Thoreau. Let's welcome him on stage, everybody.
What's Gucci?
During the time that you spent living in the woods, did you often reflect upon the relationship between the individual and the community?
Well, after going through my experience in the woods, I came to the conclusion that the individual should be separated from the community. Humans should live their lives as much as possible, rather than owning useless possessions. People can work better as individuals instead in a larger community.
In the 21st century society, what do you think of how wasteful people are nowadays?
Simplify. Instead of 3 meals a day, if it be necessary, eat but 1. Instead of 100 dishes, 5. And reduce other things in proportion. We need to minimize waste.
Okay, so if you were to give one piece of advice on how people should live more efficiently, what would it be?
Individuals need to reflect on their actions and realize what aspects of life they can improve on. Once they do this, they need to take direct action in order to make improvements.
Okay, thank you. That is all the time we have on the show for today. Thank you, Mr. Thoreau.
Thank you, Oprah.
I almost forgot one more thing. The audience member sitting in Section 8, Row 1, C3, check under your seat for a prize.
That's me. Just Dance 3. I love dancing.